Good morning, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic with me, Mike Avery, here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio, here to record this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. I will tell you who's coming up on this show here in just a little bit. I had some concern over my internet connection this morning, but it looks like it might be okay. The connection here in the studio was pretty slow. Hey, good morning, Craig. Up there you are. How you doing, buddy? Nice to see you with us. Davina, always a pleasure. The internet connection here is a little bit slow, so I'm actually running this live feed through my phone. I'm using my phone as the camera, but also as the internet source. I'm using my cell signal, which should be pretty good right here. So we'll see how it goes. So far, so good. Everything looks pretty good right now. Hope I don't have to use a cell signal tonight. Hey, Johnny Bowler. Good morning, buddy. Look forward to seeing you tonight. Appreciate you coming down for our Wednesday night live in West Branch at the Lumberjack Restaurant, the Forward Corporation Lumberjack Restaurant. We'll be live tonight at 7. Doors open at 5. We've got a full house. Davina says her state rep is useless as he's proud to pass those common sense gun laws. And that's their buzz term, common sense gun laws. That's what they're hanging their hat on. Good morning, Brian Brain. How are you, Martin? Always a pleasure. There you go. Hello, Rob. Appreciate you joining us on this edition of Behind the Mic. My name is Mike Avery here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio to record this week's show. Again, I'll tell you who's coming up on the show here shortly. Oh, by the way, this is the first time we have talked since it's been officially spring, so happy spring to you. Although last weekend was still winter, wasn't it? It was pretty brutal last weekend. I talked to, in fact, Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand Meats, who was on the Saginaw River last Saturday, and he said it was absolutely crazy. And I said, Nick, you were crazy for being out there. And he agreed. Robert, good morning. How are you? Jeremy, appreciate you being along with us. What else is on my list? I was able to fish the Saginaw River last Thursday. In fact, I fished with Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand Meats. It was so cool to be out there. I love trolling, but there's nothing like having that rod in your hand when the fish hits. Samuel Jr., good morning, Mike. Good morning. Good morning. Meet you at the outdoor dinner. Which dinner are we talking, Samuel? I've done a lot of them this last winter, been pretty busy. Which dinner did we meet at? Good morning, John. President of the CMU Bass Fishing Club. No, didn't get a limit at all. We had a situation where we had to leave the river a little bit early. Everything worked out fine, but didn't get a limit. But it didn't matter. There are a lot of people out there who did get limits that day and every day. We did not. And it's okay. It was nice to be out there. Good morning, Mr. Rich. How are you? Appreciate you joining us on this edition of Behind the Mic. It was nice to be out there. I mean, there were eagles flying overhead. There was an eagle that was perched up in a tree, watched us fish all morning. Boats everywhere. That's a viable, vibrant fishery. The Midland dinner, the Calvary Baptist, that one. Vance Gowell is back from Texas where he was hog hunting. That looked like a lot of fun. I did enjoy it, Davina. Enjoyed it tremendously. Vance, that picture of you sitting over that big Texas hog was pretty cool. Good morning, Scott. Appreciate you jumping on board. Mark Esha as well. Scott is one of the coordinators, if not the director of the Walleye for Warriors event coming up on Saginaw Bay this summer. June 11th. And here's breaking news. The boat captain registration page is open online. Go to walleyesforwarriors.org, walleyesforwarriors.org. If you want to be a boat captain for the event that is Saturday, June 10th and Sunday, June 11th this summer, you can sign up right now at walleyesforwarriors.org, walleyesforwarriors.org. Have a meeting and then we get out of work, headed south. Thank you, Johnny. Again, appreciate that very much, buddy. That's very nice of you. Nick, we did have a great time on the river. As I say, I love to troll for walleye, but there's something about having that rod in your hand when a fish hits that cannot be beat. Rich, yeah, if you're an older guy like me, seeing an eagle is always a good day because to guys my age, people my age, women my age, it's a big deal still to see an eagle. My grandkids see eagles every day, and to them, it's nothing. To them, seeing an eagle is like seeing a seagull. There's no difference. But if you've got enough years under your belt that you didn't see eagles, everyone is indeed a treat. Good morning, Matt Jack. How are you? How are things over on YouTube? Appreciate you joining us on this edition of Behind the Mic. Johnny, I'm going to text you something right now, Johnny. Coming your way. Check out that text I just sent you, Johnny. You're going to love that. Good morning, Captain Shane. How are you? Doing a little test here for Pat Johnson. You're doing the show this morning. We're checking microphones. You're going to say, well, we can hear you. I know, but you're hearing me on this microphone, and Pat's hearing me on this microphone.
Just to let you know, I'm turning you up a little bit this week.
Okay.
I think somebody, I guess a couple weeks ago, said they couldn't really hear you very well.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said they couldn't hear me. When I turned it up, they heard me. So
okay. All right.
I think everything will be good.
Sounds good. Good morning, Patrick. Checking in from the Flint truck plant. Johnny got my text. Yes, you did. And I feel the same way about it, buddy. Same way about it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Captain Shane, where do you fish? Where do you fish? Captain Shane Dietrich. Dietrich. I've heard it pronounced both ways. What else? Bear permit numbers will be down this year, Johnny. Bear permit numbers will be down, including your beloved Newberry district. Erica checking in from the Thumb. Cody Norton of the DNR will be along with us in the first hour of this week's radio show to talk about our bear population and the decrease in bear tags for the upcoming season. Also, did you see that Kansas has banned trail cameras, not just the cellular cameras, but also the old-style traditional cameras that use a card? Kansas is joining some other states to ban trail cameras. Roderick, the Wild Game Dinner, April 22nd in Bay City, hosted by the Fraternal or the FOP. Tickets at that link. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Hunter Joe, good morning, big guy. When are we going to finally have a sandhill crane hunt? We have lots of them. They're a nuisance. I don't see it happening anytime soon, Hunter Joe, because the Michigan DNR would have to get behind it, and they haven't. They have not embraced it. It would take the legislature to start pushing it or hunters to start pushing it, because in my opinion, the DNR is not going to push it. Good morning, Corey. How are you, buddy? Corey, did you decide, are you going to be able to join us in Ohio with Bill Piles? Scott checking in from Manistee. How are you, Scott? That's funny, Davina. Banning trail cameras for public land, I assume, not private. I believe that's the case, Erica. Thank you. Let me check this. That's a good point. I think that's on private land. No. Public lands in the state. Kansas bans game cameras on public land. Public land. Thank you for that. Public land. Public lands. Thank you, Mike. It's public lands. I will make a note of that. I forgot to put that in my show notes here. Not 100% yet. Okay. Good morning, Kevin. When's the course going to open? I actually would like to come up and play that course sometime, Kevin. Do you think it'd be worth the drive? Heather, good morning. How are things over on the west side of the state? Good morning, Kevin. How are you? Corey just got back from Lake Simcoe. How was it? How was it? Oh, Pat, let's show folks what we got here in the studio this morning. We are enjoying in the studio this morning smoked turkey jerky from our friends at Michigan Brand Meats, michiganbrand.net. How is it, Pat?
Awesome.
Pat says it's awesome. He says, but don't start to eat it before you go on the air. Good morning, Brian. How are you? Wayne checking in. James, how are you? Appreciate you joining us. Okay, so Kansas has banned trail cameras on public land. Oh, did you see? Craig says the West Branch course is awesome. Worth a trip, Craig. Did you see the Fred Bear film that I posted here on Facebook and my Instagram feed? Rare, unseen, publicly unseen video. I thought you were, Kevin. Thank you. A Fred Bear behind the Grayling Bear Archery plant. So it was at late 60s, early 70s, maybe at sometime from the 70s, I believe. Fred Bear walks out behind the plant and they're goofing around, and there's a guy in a bear suit, and Fred shoots him with a flu arrow with a blunt tip on it. Now, Fred told the guy, Tom Prill, I think, he said, it's not going to hurt. Don't worry about it. Tom said, it did hurt. It hurt like heck. Hooligan cigars and golfing. Hell yes, absolutely. Spencer checking in from work. Spencer, you remember, is the guy who did the self-guided bear hunt in the UP. And he was hunted for like 10 days straight before he finally got a bear. How cool is that? Have I been watching the Mitch Rompola fan club Facebook group? I have not, Hunter Joe. I have not. I haven't been watching it. Good morning, Jim. How are you? Bruce, good morning. Appreciate you being along with us. Don't forget, March 1st, you'll need a new fishing license here in Michigan. I will not be able to get the senior discount yet. Wednesday Night Live tonight. Should be open by the end of April. Davina. I'll get to it. Good morning, Frankie. Wednesday Night Live tonight. We will be at the Lumberjack Restaurant in West Branch. Doors open at 5. We will go live at 7 o'clock. I know many of you already have your tickets or have your reservations. I look forward to seeing you. If you can't, please join us online. We're going to give away a lot of cool things to people with us in person tonight, but we will also give away a Michigan brand ham for the holidays as part of Lent to somebody watching us live online. That'll be on my Facebook page, my LinkedIn feed, on Twitter, and also YouTube as well. Davina wants to know who's on the show this week, which is a legitimate question. It's a valid question. My leadoff guest is Cody Norton of the Michigan DNR, talking about our Michigan bear population. We have a thriving bear population, yet they have decided to cut back on the number of bear tags. Why is that? Cody, help me understand. Cody's a good guy. I like Cody. I respect Cody. But I don't get this. I'm not a biologist. Cody is, and I will ask him to explain that to me. Then Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand Meats. He is trophy. No, Joe. In fact, I was there yesterday. He is trophy perch fishing in Northwest Michigan. We'll talk with him about some new products they have. Then in hour number 2, Lance Valentine of Teach and Fishing talks about fishing the Detroit River for walleye. Nick Green of MUCC follows up. This week's Ask Avery segment talks about keeping trophy fish on the Detroit River. Is it a bad thing to do? In our third hour, Mr. Angler Quest himself, Brad Dupuis, joins me with an update from that Michigan-based company. And then wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner wraps it all up. Brian says, crazy. He has at 11 points. We'll never get a tag for the lure. Not with 11 points, you won't. Not with 11 points, you won't, Brian. And it is crazy. If you want a bear tag in Michigan, it's almost like waiting in the lower peninsula. It's almost like waiting for an elk tag. What I've been doing lately is applying for the second season. The last season, the third season in Newberry. Now, up until this year, you could get a bear tag in Newberry every other year. I don't know if that's still going to be the case. If you want to go to the far western UP and apply for the later seasons, you can get one every year. But those are not the ones in demand. Good morning, Mike. How are you? How's Jackie's knee doing? Ross, my friend, I will see you tonight in West Branch at the Lumberjack, and I will be looking forward to it. Ross, you should, if you don't know the big news, you should text Johnny right now. He has some big, exciting news for you. I don't have time to text it to you right now. Yes, I do. Yes, I do, Ross. There, check your text, Ross. He's doing well, already planning for the second one. Emil Rousseau, who is the manager at the Lumberjack, says he will see us tonight. Emil, we appreciate your hospitality, and I look forward to seeing you there tonight. Won't that kill all of your points? Yeah, every time you get a tag, you lose your points. Absolutely. Good morning, Johnny. Uncle Johnny, I see you tonight. You and your bride, Aunt Debbie. Emil's got some fresh walleye coming in for tonight. Ross says, I know. I know. How can one simple piece of knowledge like that put a damper on a situation? Isn't it amazing? Isn't it just amazing? 6 minutes yet? Oh my goodness, we got a lot of time yet. Okay, so our event tonight at the Lumberjack, doors open at 5. We will go live at 7. Ted Harpham of Dart and Archery will be joining us. Sherry Harpham of Freakin' Pickles will be joining us. Rich Krazan of Killer Food Plots will be joining us. Paul Phillips, extreme long-range shooter extraordinaire, will join us. He's going to bring the rifle that he's going to shoot, that he shot 4 miles with. Good morning, Ron. Ron St. Louis of Northern Wilderness Bear Outfitters. Ron, I look forward to seeing you in early June. I understand Ron has some openings. If you want to join us, go to the website, northernwildernessbearoutfitters.com, northernwildernessbearoutfitters.com, or shoot me an email or text, and I can put you in touch with Ron. I'm really looking forward to getting up there and doing a springtime hunt. I've only done one springtime hunt with Ron. It's been a couple of years, and I'm looking forward to going again. Tim says, where are the steelhead running? In the Manistee. Good morning, Jesse. How are you? Manistee and other rivers, I'm sure, but I know for a fact they're a strong run in the Manistee right now. We're giving away, what are we giving away tonight? We're giving away to those in person some Michigan brand products. We're giving away 2 Rapid River knives. What? Shoot me a text, Ross. You got me concerned. I don't know what's going on here, Ross. Shoot me a text. Tim's really late, but you're here. Good morning, Jerry. Appreciate you joining us. We're giving away a dinner, gift certificate for dinner at the Lumberjack. We're giving away some freaking pickles. We're giving away some hats. Some hats of mine. Tim, you are going to be there tonight. I told Denise that I thought you. Okay. But you're still going to be in West Branch tonight, Ross? You're a road warrior today, buddy. A surgeon. That's not. Man. First choice for Newberry, and you get a tag every 5 years? That's good for you. Shana, tell me your secret. Tell me your secret. You get a tag for the first season in Newberry every 5 years. Tell me who I have to pay off to do that. Ross. Yeah, for sure. Anyway, it's going to be a good event tonight. Paul Phillips, my good friend Paul Phillips, he said, Mike, I've got to be in like St. Louis tomorrow for work. He's going to come to our event at the Lumberjack tonight, and then he's going to drive all night long to get to a meeting for his business in St. Louis tomorrow. I think it's St. Louis, Kansas City, somewhere out west. So when you see Paul tonight, let him know you appreciate it. I agree with you, John. I couldn't get a tag for first season in Newberry with 9 points. And Shayna is saying she gets one every 5 years for Newberry. So that's 5 points. I don't know how you do that. The numbers don't make sense. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but that doesn't make any sense to me. Good morning, Dan. 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, I have to record the opening segment of this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. I will not be able to interact with you directly and answer your questions. Good luck, I guess. Yeah. Mike's headed out shed hunting. Good luck. Have fun, Mike. So I won't be able to directly interact with you because I'm going to have to record the show. So if you ask me a question and I don't answer, it's not that I'm being rude. Although I did get accused of being arrogant the other day. I guess I really can't ignore. I really can't deny that. It is what it is. Jesse has 16 points going this year, first time in Newberry. 16 points. I still can't get over this 5 bear tag in Newberry, first season every 5 years. Shane, I don't know what you figured out, but keep it up because you're the anomaly. You're not the norm, that's for sure. So I guess I better start a clock here. And this clock would say 12 minutes. And we'll go in about 20 seconds?
We will go in 25 seconds.
25 seconds. Okay.
Sorry. 30. Make it 30.
Make it 30. Let's just call it 30. Mad Jack's got to get back at it. Mad Jack, you're retired. What do you have to get back at? You as well, Davina. Seth is pushing the Save Cornwall. I don't blame you. Save Cornwall and Camp Grayling, 2 big topics in the news.
10.
Talk to you later, Corey.
5.
4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. Good question, Derek. I don't know the answer to it. A lot of things I don't know the answer to.
Time now for Michigan's #1 outdoor radio show.
Oh, I thought you were retired, Mad Jack. I'm sorry.
Mike Avery has covered the outdoors in Michigan for more than 4 decades, and that tradition continues today.
Yeah, Tim, I look forward to it.
Is brought to you by James Sporting Goods, the Geiger Insurance Group, Angler Quest Pontoons, and Polarcraft Boats, the Forward Corporation.
My website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. My email address, Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Don't hesitate to reach out to me.
And by Michigan Brand Meats.
Have a good day, my friends. I'll see many of you tonight. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine radio show right here on the Outdoor Magazine Radio Network. More than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan, and glad to have you along with us. How are you? How you doing? What have you been up to since we last talked? Well, this is the first time that you and I have talked since it's officially spring. Doesn't that sound good? Now, in my part of the world, yes, it does feel like spring. Mother Nature's, she's letting winter go, kicking and screaming, but it does feel like spring for the most part. It does look like spring for the most part. It does sound like spring for the most part. My friends in the Yup, you might disagree. If you're up in the Keweenaw, I'm sure you disagree, but it's coming. The calendar says springtime. Since we've last talked, I had a chance to have a wonderful outdoor adventure, something I haven't done for a while. I was on the Saginaw River jigging for walleye. I love to do that. I used to be a hardcore river rat. I fished the Saginaw. I fished the Tittabawassee. I fished the Shiawassee, drifting the current, bouncing jigs off the bottom, sometimes tipped with minnows, sometimes just plastic, but I really enjoy that. I was out there with Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand Meats. Nick said, "Hey, I'm going fishing. He said, I'm going fishing tomorrow. You want to go?" You don't have to ask me twice. I knew it was going to be a good day when at the boat launch, waiting to launch, an eagle flew overhead. I thought, that is so cool. I'm old enough that for me, every time I see an eagle, it's a big deal. There didn't used to be a lot of eagles flying around the state. So to me, it's still a big deal. My grandkids see eagles almost every day. And for them, seeing an eagle is like seeing a seagull. They don't make the distinction. But for those of us who remember when there weren't a lot of birds, eagles flying around, it's a big deal. In fact, that morning on the Saginaw River, there were eagles flying overhead, and there was one big adult white-headed bird that sat up in a tree and watched us most of the morning. Lots of boats on the river and lots of fish. It was a very special experience to a guy like me who has watched this Saginaw Bay and river walleye fishery rebound. And it was also special to be out there because it was at a time that was normally closed to anglers. We talked about this last week on the radio show. Saginaw River below Center Street, which is the first bridge downstream of Wicks Park, is open year round now. 8 fish, 13-inch size limit. And I wondered last weekend how hard that fishery, how hard that resource was going to get hit. Looks like it's going to get hit pretty hard. But the biologists say the resource can handle it, and I will trust them. They also say, talking with Jason Gasto last week on the show, he said that the reason the Saginaw River, the Saginaw Bay regulations were changed back in 2015 was to try to thin out the walleye population in some degree, to thin out the walleye population and to help out the yellow perch population. He says that has not happened. They haven't seen a statistical significant bump there. And I said, Jason, if that's the case, then will you cut back on those liberal harvest restrictions, regulations on Saginaw Bay? Will we see it go back to 5 fish of 15 inches anytime soon? He said that is on the table. Personally, I wouldn't mind seeing that. But again, I'm not a biologist. But it's so rewarding to be drifting along with the current, have the rod in your hand, bouncing a jig off the bottom, bump, 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 boom, there's a fish. So I really enjoyed that. Another thing I really enjoyed doing, as you know, is bear hunting. Now, the powers that be here in Michigan, again, the biologists, the NRC, the DNR, even though we have a vibrant, viable bear population, they have decreased the number of tags for hunters this fall. I have a hard time figuring that one out. If you have more bear, why do you cut back on the bear tags? Cody Norton, who is a big game biologist for the DNR, will be with us in the next couple of segments to talk about that and help me figure that out and get that through my thick brain about why that's a desired outcome. Kansas has joined the growing list of states that has banned trail cameras on public lands. Not just cell cameras, but the old style where you put a card in, where you have to go out and pull the card. I hope Michigan doesn't do that. I'm sure there's a reason for it. I hope it's not just the, oh my goodness, technology is invading the outdoors. We're becoming too technologically astute in the outdoors and we need to pull back. I hope that's not the reason. I hope that's not just a knee-jerk reaction to technology. Because if you look at how technology has invaded the outdoors, both in hunting and fishing, that would be a slippery slope. I mean, what about live scope? Some tournaments have already banned live scope. That's the technology that lets you see out to the front and you can see individual fish and you can cast your bait and you can see it drop down into those fish and see how they react. Yeah, technology has invaded the outdoors, but it has invaded our lives in general. Is it necessarily a bad thing? I don't think so. Depends on how you use it. We don't do things the way we used to in the old days, right? As an example of that, I had a guy, Jeff Sugden, sent me some video. Actually, it's film. It was shot on 8mm film back in probably the 70s. It was when Bear Archery still had their plant here in Michigan in Grayling. And it's home movies of Fred Bear walking out behind the plant with one of his employees named Tom Prill, if I remember right. Tom was dressed up in a bear suit with bear headgear on. It was basically a helmet to protect him. And it's film, now video, of Fred stalking behind the plant. He's got his recurve, his left-handed recurve. And this bear jumps out from behind a brush pile. And Fred draws that recurve. I'm doing it right now in the studio, left-handed. Fred draws that recurve and he shoots the bear. He shot him with a flu arrow and a blunt tip, a rubber tip. Now, the story I've been told is Fred told Tom, it's not going to hurt. Don't worry about it. It's not going to hurt. You've got that big protective suit on. It won't hurt. And Tom said, oh, yeah, it hurt. Believe me, it hurt, he said. So I posted that film, now video, on my Facebook page and on my Instagram feed. And I think it's pretty cool. Now, would I advise you go out and shoot somebody with a flu arrow and a blunt tip? No. Am I going to criticize the man himself, the legend Fred Bear, for doing it? Absolutely not. Because some people did. They said, well, and I'm saying, well, the guy is Fred Bear. He can pretty much do what he wanted to do. But I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool to be able to see that old film. And I appreciate when people share these old resources with me. And why did Jeff do it? Because he said, hey, I know you've met Fred Bear. And even though it was Jeff's wife's uncle, Tom Prill, the guy who was in the video, the film, he sent it to me and he said, feel free to share it. And I did. And I appreciate the opportunity to do things like that. Here in Michigan, don't forget you'll need a new fishing license coming up April 1st. That is just around the corner. Also, Walleye for Warriors. If you want to be a boat captain for the Walleye for Warriors event on Saginaw Bay to honor and help and take out veterans fishing on the bay this summer, that event is June 10th and 11th. Boat captain registration is open. Go to walleyesforwarriors.org, walleyesforwarriors.org. This is not for veterans yet. This is for boat captains only. And you could sign up to be a boat captain. I'm not signing up because I will be bear hunting that previous week with Ron St. Louis of Northern Wilderness Bear Outfitters in Ontario, but I will be there for the big event on Sunday. Coming up on this week's Outdoor Magazine show after the break, Cody Norton talking about why we have decreased the number of bear tags here in Michigan. Then Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand. He is waiting to catch some trophy perch, but he's going to talk with us before he does. Lance Valentine in hour 2 talks about fishing the Detroit River. Nick Green of MUCC follows up. And in our third hour, Mr. Angler Quest himself, Brad Dupuis. And, of course, we wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner. My name is Mike Avery. The show is Outdoor Magazine. My website is MikeAveryOutdoors.com. My email address is Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Don't hesitate to reach out. I do want to hear from you. There's a lot coming up in the next 3 hours. I hope you can stick around. Ron, I see your message. Oh, excellent. All right, my friends, have a good day. I will see many of you tonight for Wednesday Night Live at the Lumberjack Restaurant in West Branch. If not, I'll see you online. Have a great day.